Lying to yourself is the most dangerous thing you can do. It's insidious. It creeps into your thoughts, quietly whispering comforting falsehoods that justify inaction. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You tell yourself you're too tired, too busy, too stressed. You convince yourself that your circumstances are exceptional, that your failures are not your responsibility, that you just need the right moment, the right inspiration, or the right opportunity to finally take action. But deep down, you know you're lying. Every time you make an excuse, you reinforce a habit of self-deception. And the problem is that these lies are incredibly convenient. They protect you from discomfort. They give you a reason to stay in your comfort zone, to avoid the struggle of self-improvement. But here's the harsh reality. Your life is a direct result of your choices. If you are lazy, unmotivated, and stagnant, it's not because life is unfair, or because you have bad luck, or because you just aren't that type of person. It's because you have built a habit of lying to yourself. You say you don't have time, but you scroll endlessly through your phone. You say you don't have energy, but you waste hours on mindless entertainment. You say you're too tired, but you don't fix your sleep schedule. You say you don't know where to start, but you've made no effort to find out. The truth is, you are not powerless. You are choosing laziness because it is easier than discipline. You are choosing excuses because they protect you from the discomfort of effort. But this is a false protection. In reality, it is a slow poison. Lies create a prison. The more you deceive yourself, the more you reinforce the belief that you are incapable of change. If you tell yourself a lie long enough, it becomes truth in your mind. You start to believe that you truly are too tired, too unmotivated, too incapable. You create an identity out of your laziness. You start saying things like, "I'm just not a morning person," or "I've never been disciplined." These statements aren't facts, they are justifications, and every time you repeat them, you strengthen them. You make them real. The way out of this prison is brutal honesty. You have to call yourself out. You have to recognize that the only thing standing between you and the person you want to be is your own willingness to act. That's it. There is no secret formula, no external force that will suddenly make you disciplined. It starts with acknowledging the truth. You are the problem. And that means you are also the solution. So, how do you do this? You start by catching yourself in the act. The next time you think, "I'll do it later," stop. Ask yourself, is that actually true or is it just an excuse? The next time you say, "I don't have time," take a hard look at your day. Are you truly using every hour effectively? Or are you wasting time on meaningless distractions? The next time you feel unmotivated, ask yourself, do I really need motivation or do I just need to start? And then, most importantly, act. Take immediate, decisive action in the face of your excuses. If you say you don't have time, carve out just 10 minutes and start. If you say you don't have energy, do something small and build momentum. If you say you'll do it later, do it now. Because later never comes. Break the cycle in real time. Challenge your thoughts. Prove to yourself that your excuses are just that. Excuses. Over time, this builds a new habit. The more you reject your own excuses, the weaker they become. The more you act despite discomfort, the more resilient you become. You start to replace self-deception with self-respect. And that's the real goal, to respect yourself enough to demand more from yourself, to hold yourself to a higher standard, to refuse to accept a life dictated by laziness and self-imposed limitations. At the end of the day, you have two choices. You can keep lying to yourself, living in comfortable stagnation, avoiding effort and drifting through life without purpose. Or you can face the truth, take responsibility, and take action. The choice is yours. But remember this, every time you lie to yourself, you steal from your future. Every excuse is a step away from the person you could become. So stop lying. Be honest, take action. Your future depends on it. If you don't have a plan, you are drifting. And when you drift, you go wherever the current takes you, which usually isn't anywhere good. Life is complex, unpredictable, and often brutal. If you wake up every day without a clear direction, you will fall into patterns of aimlessness, procrastination, and stagnation. You will spend your time reacting to life instead of shaping it. And worst of all, you will waste years wondering why nothing is changing, never realizing that it's because you never took the time to map out where you wanted to go in the first place. People who don't have a plan are at the mercy of their impulses. They do what feels good in the moment because they have no larger goal to work toward. They wake up without purpose, letting the day control them instead of controlling the day. They jump from one distraction to the next, filling their time with meaningless activities that provide temporary pleasure but no real progress. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. They wonder why they lack motivation. They wonder why they don't feel fulfilled. The answer is simple. They have no damn plan. A plan is more than just a vague idea of what you want in life. It is a structured, actionable roadmap that gives you a clear path forward. It eliminates confusion and hesitation. It forces you to define what you actually want instead of just hoping for a better future without doing anything about it. A good plan removes guesswork and allows you to wake up each day knowing exactly what needs to be done. It removes the need for motivation because you are no longer making decisions based on how you feel. You are making decisions based on what needs to happen to reach your goals. The first step to having a real plan is getting specific. Saying you want to be successful is not a plan. Saying you want to be healthier is not a plan. Saying you want to make more money is not a plan. These are vague desires, and vague desires lead to vague results. If you want something, you need to define it with precision. What does success actually look like for you? What does being healthy actually mean in measurable terms? How much money do you want to make, and by what date? Without specific targets, you are just wishing, and wishing is not a strategy. Once you have a clear goal, you need to break it down into actionable steps. A plan without execution is useless. If your goal is to start a business, what are the steps required to get there? If your goal is to lose weight, what are the daily actions you need to take? Break everything down into manageable tasks that you can track. If your goal is so big that it feels overwhelming, you will never start. But if you reduce it into daily or weekly actions, suddenly it becomes achievable. This is how progress is made. Not through massive, unsustainable efforts, but through small, consistent actions that compound over time. Another critical part of a plan is setting deadlines. If you don't set a deadline, you will procrastinate indefinitely. You will always find reasons to push things off, convincing yourself that you will get to it eventually. But eventually is a fantasy. It never comes. Set real deadlines for your goals and hold yourself accountable to them. If you say you will accomplish something by a certain date, make sure there are consequences if you don't. Either set up external accountability, such as telling someone else your deadline, or create a personal system where failure has a cost. The more serious you take your deadlines, the more seriously you will take your plan. A plan also requires constant evaluation. You can't just set a goal, make a plan, and then forget about it. You need to track your progress, reassess your strategies, and make adjustments when necessary. What gets measured gets improved. If you are not keeping track of your actions, how will you know if you are making progress? Set aside time each week to review what you've done, what needs improvement, and what needs to change. And if something isn't working, fix it. If you are falling behind, figure out why and correct course. A plan is a living thing. It needs to be updated and refined as you grow. People often avoid making a plan because it forces them to confront their own lack of action. When you have no plan, you can live in the illusion that one day things will just magically work out. You can keep telling yourself that success will come eventually, that you will start when you're ready, that life will somehow align perfectly for you to take action. But that is a delusion. Life does not wait for you. If you do not take control of your future, you will be controlled by whatever circumstances come your way. You will live according to other people's plans instead of your own. The truth is, you are either moving forward or falling behind. There is no standing still. If you are not actively working towards something, then by default you are letting life slip away. If you do not have a plan, you are relying on luck, and luck is not a strategy. You must take full ownership of your time, your actions, and your future. You must sit down, figure out exactly what you want, write it down, break it into steps, set deadlines, and track your progress relentlessly. If you refuse to do this, if you continue to drift without direction, then you have no right to complain about your circumstances. Your life is your responsibility. The people who succeed are not necessarily the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented. They are the ones who make a plan and execute it, day after day, without excuses. They do not wait for inspiration. They do not wait for the perfect moment. They take action. So stop hoping for a better future without doing anything about it. Stop pretending that things will change on their own. Sit down today and make a plan. And then most importantly, follow through. Because a plan without execution is just a wish. And wishes don't build successful lives. Action does. Your morning is the foundation of your entire day. If you master your mornings, you take control of your time, your energy, and your mindset before the world has a chance to throw distractions at you. If you waste your mornings, you start your day in a reactive, sluggish state, and that sets the tone for everything that follows. The truth is, the way you spend the first hour of your day determines whether you are building momentum toward your goals or falling into patterns of procrastination and laziness. Most people wake up without a plan. They hit snooze, roll out of bed at the last possible moment, and immediately dive into distractions, scrolling through their phone, checking messages, consuming random content. They start their day on autopilot, already losing to impulse and habit before they've even had a chance to make a conscious decision. Then they wonder why they feel unmotivated, unfocused, and overwhelmed. It's because they have no structure, no discipline, no ownership over how they begin their day. If you want to stop wasting time, if you want to eliminate laziness and actually get things done, you need to take control of your mornings. You need a system, a routine that sets you up for success before the day gets away from you. This isn't about waking up at 5 a.m. for the sake of it. It's about setting up a structured, intentional morning that makes you stronger, sharper, and more productive. The first step is waking up at the same time every day. Your brain and body thrive on consistency. When you wake up at random times, you throw off your energy levels, your focus, and even your mood. Set a wake-up time and stick to it, even on weekends. This one habit alone will build discipline and make you feel more in control of your life. It eliminates the temptation to hit snooze and waste the most valuable hours of your day in bed. The next step is to get moving immediately. When you wake up, your body is in a stiff, low-energy state. If you stay in that state laying in bed, scrolling your phone, you reinforce sluggishness. Instead, get out of bed as soon as your alarm goes off. Move your body, stretch, do some light exercise, even if it's just a few push-ups or jumping jacks. This signals to your brain that the day has begun and that you are in control. It wakes you up faster and gives you an instant energy boost. Once you're up and moving, the next thing you need to do is engage your mind. Most people start their day consuming useless, low-quality information, social media, news, entertainment. This puts you in a passive state, reacting to whatever content happens to show up on your screen. Instead, use this time to feed your mind with something that makes you stronger. Read a book, listen to a podcast, write in a journal. Do something that stimulates your brain and sets a productive tone for the rest of the day. Another crucial element of mastering your morning is setting your intentions for the day. If you don't have a plan, your day will be filled with distractions and wasted time. Before the day even starts, you should know exactly what your top priorities are. Take a few minutes in the morning to write down your goals, your tasks, and the key things you need to accomplish. This eliminates decision fatigue and makes sure you hit the ground running instead of spending half the day figuring out what you should be doing. You also need to pay attention to what you put into your body in the morning. If you start your day with sugar, processed foods, or caffeine overload, You are setting yourself up for energy crashes and mental fog. Instead, hydrate first thing. Your body is dehydrated after a night of sleep, and water is the quickest way to wake yourself up naturally. Eat something that fuels you properly. Protein, healthy fats, real food that gives you lasting energy instead of a temporary spike followed by a crash. Finally, avoid unnecessary distractions and negativity. The first hour of your day should be protected. If you start your day by checking emails, responding to messages, or consuming negative news, you are giving away your mental clarity before you've even had a chance to focus on yourself. Create a rule for yourself. No social media, no emails, no outside input until you have completed your morning routine. This one change alone can transform your focus and productivity for the entire day. When you master your mornings, you take control of your life. You no longer let laziness, distractions, and random impulses dictate your day. You wake up with purpose. You take action immediately, and you set yourself up for success before the rest of the world even wakes up. This isn't just about productivity, it's about self-respect. How you start your day is a reflection of how seriously you take your goals, your future, and yourself. If you want to stop feeling stuck, if you want to eliminate laziness and actually achieve something, start by taking control of your mornings. Because if you can win the first hour of the day, you can win the rest of it. If your life isn't where you want it to be, there is only one person responsible for that: you. It's not your circumstances, your upbringing, your genetics, or your luck. It's you. The sooner you accept this truth, the sooner you can start making real progress. But as long as you keep making excuses, blaming external factors, and avoiding responsibility, you will stay exactly where you are. That's why accountability is everything. Holding yourself accountable means recognizing that your actions or lack of actions determine your results. It means admitting when you are slacking, when you are making excuses, and when you are not living up to your own standards. Most people avoid accountability because it's uncomfortable. It forces you to acknowledge your flaws, your weaknesses, and your failures. But if you refuse to face reality, you will never change. People who lack accountability drift through life, constantly reacting to circumstances instead of shaping them. They blame their failures on bad luck, unfair systems, or other people. They convince themselves that their situation is out of their control. But that's a lie. The truth is, every single decision you make, what time you wake up, how you spend your time, whether you follow through on commitments, adds up to shape your life. If you take full ownership of those decisions, you gain the power to change. But if you refuse to take responsibility, you hand that power over to chance. The first step to holding yourself accountable is brutally honest self-assessment. Stop sugarcoating your shortcomings. If you are lazy, admit it. If you procrastinate, call yourself out. If you keep failing to meet your own expectations, figure out why. Excuses might make you feel better in the moment, but they do nothing to improve your situation. Growth starts when you strip away the justifications and face the truth head on. One of the biggest mistakes people make is setting goals without any system of accountability. They say they want to lose weight, get stronger, make more money, or be more disciplined, but they don't track their progress. If you don't measure what you are doing, you will never know if you are actually improving. Track everything. Write down your goals. Set clear deadlines. Keep a record of your daily actions. When you track your progress, you can't lie to yourself. The numbers don't care about your excuses. They show you whether you are actually doing the work or just telling yourself that you are. Another critical aspect of accountability is setting standards and actually following through on them. Most people set weak standards for themselves. They say they will go to the gym, but skip it whenever they don't feel like it. They say they will work on their goals, but waste hours on distractions. They let themselves off the hook constantly. And every time they do, they reinforce the habit of failure. If you keep breaking promises to yourself, you train yourself to accept mediocrity. To fix this, you need to set non-negotiable rules for yourself. Decide what is required and stick to it no matter what. If you say you will wake up at 6 a.m., you wake up at 6 a.m. If you say you will work on your business every day, you do it even when you don't feel like it. Stop making decisions based on emotions. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. You also need external accountability. Most people fail to stay consistent because they rely only on themselves, and it's easy to let yourself slide when no one else knows. Find a way to create outside pressure. Tell someone your goals and ask them to check in with you. Join a group or a community that holds you to a standard. Put money on the line. Make a bet with a friend that you will accomplish a goal by a certain date. And if you fail, you lose the money. When there are real consequences for failing, you take your commitments more seriously. Accountability isn't just about tracking progress and setting standards. It's also about owning your failures. When you mess up, admit it. Don't hide from it. Don't make excuses. Learn from it and move forward. Everyone fails at some point, but the difference between successful people and failures is how they respond. Losers make excuses and avoid responsibility. Winners analyze what went wrong, adjust their approach, and keep moving forward. At the end of the day, accountability is about respect, self-respect. If you don't hold yourself accountable, you are telling yourself that your goals don't matter, that your future doesn't matter, that your word is meaningless. But when you take full ownership of your actions and results, you become unstoppable. You stop waiting for motivation, luck, or the right moment. You take action. You follow through. You become the kind of person who does what they say they will do, and that's the kind of person who succeeds. So stop blaming, stop making excuses, and stop lying to yourself. Take full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. Track your progress, set high standards, and refuse to let yourself off the hook. Because at the end of the day, no one is coming to save you. If you want to change your life, it starts with holding yourself accountable. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. And if you depend on it, you will never be consistent. One day you feel inspired, energized, and ready to take on the world. The next day you wake up tired, unmotivated, and distracted. If your actions are dictated by motivation, you will only work when you feel like it. And that is a guaranteed way to fail. The most successful people in any field are not the ones who feel motivated every day. They are the ones who show up and do the work regardless of how they feel. They have something deeper driving them, something stronger than motivation. That thing is meaning. When you have a deep sense of purpose, when you know exactly why you are doing what you are doing, you don't need motivation. You simply do what must be done. Most people chase motivation because they have no clear meaning in their lives. They jump from one idea to another, looking for something that will make them feel excited. They watch motivational videos, listen to inspiring speeches, and get a temporary boost. But that feeling fades, and they are right back where they started, waiting for the next surge of motivation. This is a trap. Motivation is an emotion. And like all emotions, it is temporary. If you want to build something real, you need something deeper to push you forward. Meaning is what keeps you moving when motivation disappears. It is the foundation that keeps you disciplined even when you don't feel like working. It is what makes you keep going despite setbacks, boredom, and exhaustion. People who succeed are not necessarily the most talented or the smartest. They are the ones who have a deep reason to keep going, even when things get hard. To stop relying on motivation, you need to find your meaning. What is it that actually matters to you? What is worth struggling for? What is worth sacrificing comfort and convenience for? If you don't know the answers to these questions, you will always be lost. You will always be chasing short-term excitement instead of committing to something meaningful. Finding meaning starts with defining your values. What do you truly care about? Not what society tells you to care about, not what sounds good on paper, what actually moves you. Maybe it's building something great, maybe it's helping others, maybe it's proving to yourself that you can achieve more than anyone expected. Whatever it is, it needs to be something personal, something real. Because when things get tough, and they always do, your meaning is what will keep you going. Once you have identified your meaning, you need to structure your life around it. This means aligning your daily actions with what truly matters to you. If you say you care about something, your actions need to reflect that. If you say you want to build a business, but you spend your free time watching TV and scrolling social media, then you don't actually care about that goal. You just like the idea of it. Meaning isn't found in words, it's found in action. The next step is to build discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. If your actions are driven by meaning rather than motivation, you don't need to feel like it to get started. You simply do it because it aligns with your purpose. This shift in mindset is life-changing. Instead of waiting for motivation, you create a system that ensures progress. You schedule your work, you commit to it, and you follow through. Another key to replacing motivation with meaning is to embrace struggle. People who rely on motivation expect everything to feel good all the time. The moment something becomes difficult or uncomfortable, they quit. But when you are driven by meaning, you understand that struggle is part of the process. You accept discomfort. You push through boredom. You keep going, not because it feels good, but because it is necessary. You must also eliminate distractions that pull you away from your purpose. Many people live in a constant state of distraction, chasing quick dopamine hits instead of doing meaningful work. If you are constantly seeking entertainment, stimulation, and comfort, you are avoiding the deeper work required to build a meaningful life. Stop numbing yourself with mindless distractions. Focus on what actually matters. Finally, you must be patient. Meaningful work takes time. Building something real takes years, sometimes decades. If you expect instant results, you will always be frustrated. But if you commit to the long game, if you dedicate yourself to something bigger than temporary pleasure, you will find fulfillment that no amount of motivation can provide. At the end of the day, motivation is weak. It's unreliable. It's an illusion that keeps people stuck in cycles of starting and stopping. If you truly want to succeed, stop seeking motivation. Seek meaning instead. Find something worth suffering for. Align your actions with your purpose and build the discipline to keep going no matter what. Because the people who win are not the ones who are always motivated. They are the ones who do the work every single day, whether they feel like it or not. Regret is a monster that grows in the shadows of inaction. It feeds on the opportunities you ignored, the chances you didn't take, and the potential you let slip away. You may try to ignore it, bury it under distractions, or convince yourself that it doesn't matter. But deep down, you know the truth. The things you avoid today will come back to haunt you in the future. And when they do, they will not arrive as minor disappointments. They will come as crushing realizations that you wasted time you can never get back. Most people live as if they have unlimited time. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, that they'll chase their dreams when they feel ready, that they'll get disciplined when life is less stressful. But the days turn into weeks, the weeks turn into years, and before they know it, they are looking back at a life full of unfinished plans and missed chances. Nothing is more painful than realizing that you could have been more, that you had the ability, but you chose comfort over effort, distraction over discipline, fear over action. Regret is different from failure. Failure is a lesson. It's a necessary step toward growth. When you try and fail, you gain experience, wisdom, and resilience. But regret? Regret leaves you with nothing but the haunting thought of what could have been. It's the slow, sinking realization that the life you wanted was within reach, but you were too afraid, too lazy, or too distracted to grab it. The worst part about regret is that it doesn't hit you all at once. It creeps in over time. At first, it's just a quiet discomfort, a vague feeling that you should be doing more. But as the years go by, it becomes louder. You start to see the consequences of your inaction. The people who took risks, who put in the effort, who pushed through fear, They move forward while you stayed the same. The opportunities you ignored don't come back. The relationships you neglected fade away. The time you wasted is gone forever. So, how do you face the monster of regret? You do it by taking action now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop pretending that you have all the time in the world, because you don't. The harsh truth is that your life is happening right now, and every day you spend avoiding responsibility is a day you will never get back. The first step is to acknowledge the areas where you are currently setting yourself up for regret. Be brutally honest with yourself. Where are you playing small? Where are you avoiding discomfort? What are you putting off that you know you should be doing? These are the things that will haunt you later if you don't take action now. Next, understand that discomfort is temporary, but regret lasts forever. You may not feel like waking up early to work on your goals, but the pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of looking back and realizing you wasted years. You may be afraid to take risks, but the fear of failure is nothing compared to the agony of never trying at all. When faced with a difficult choice, ask yourself this: which decision will I regret more in 5 years? That's the path you need to take. You must also develop the habit of immediate action. Stop overthinking. Stop waiting until you feel ready, because you never will. Your mind will always find reasons to delay, to postpone, to stay comfortable. Override that instinct. Another powerful way to avoid regret is to imagine your older self compound over time. Picture yourself 10, 20, 30 years from now. A year from now, you'll be grateful on your life. If you don't, a year from now, you'll be in the same place with even more regret weighing you down. What risks would you wish you had taken? What dreams would you wish you had chased? That older version of you is real. They will exist one day. And they will either thank you for your discipline today or resent you for your inaction. Finally, understand that the only way to conquer regret is to take full responsibility for your life. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. If you continue making excuses, the only person you are hurting is yourself. The monster of regret grows stronger every time you let yourself off the hook, every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you choose comfort over progress. You don't have to let regret consume you. You can face it. You can fight it. But that means taking action now, not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient. Now, because every second that passes is another second you will never get back. If you don't take control of your life today, one day you will wake up and realize that it's too late. And that is a pain far greater than any challenge you face right now. Face the monster before it grows. Take responsibility, take action, and make sure that when you look back on your life, you are proud of the choices you made, not haunted by the ones you didn't.